Joining us now, Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. Senator, thank you so much for joining us. First, let me ask you what Senator Thune was talking about there. He says he's implying that there was a standalone bill that the Democrats could consider on expanding those Medicaid expansions, extending them out. Did that happen? Why did it not happen?
Well, I don't know anything about what Senator Thune is talking about. I've heard some rumors that he may be willing to have a vote on stopping these massive health care premium increases from going into effect, but that he's not willing to let any Republicans vote for it. It doesn't help people in Connecticut whose premiums are in some cases about to go up by $25,000 for us to just have a failed vote. They need this fixed. So it's pretty extraordinary that Republicans are continuing to refuse to even sit down and negotiate. They, for the time being, are so committed to raising people's premiums in order to fund the tax cut for the billionaires and the corporations. They're so committed to letting Trump continue to act in these corrupt and lawless ways that they're refusing to even talk to us. So a vote doesn't solve anybody's problem if Republicans are going to all vote to keep the premium increases going into effect.
So you believe that it has to be a part of this shutdown because that's the only place the Democrats have any leverage?
Well, I mean, this is just going to be a cataclysm. Like, this is real life. You just, covered what the impact of the shutdown is. But you're talking about 22 million Americans who are about to have a massive increase in health insurance, such that about 4 million of them are just going to decide that they can't have health insurance any longer. So, this is ultimately about protecting people and not making a choice, as Republicans have, to prioritize billionaires and corporations over regular folks. So, we're saying sit down at the table with us, and if we can get to a budget that doesn't hurt the American people by raising their health care costs by double digits, then of course you're going to have Democratic votes for that.
So there's interesting polling right now on the shutdown. More people believe it is the Republicans' fault, but when you ask them, who do you trust more on the economy, on economic issues, on your pocketbook, they say Republicans. How do you respond to that?
Well, I think it is, interesting and important that the public doesn't know who's to blame here. And frankly, they don't have to do too much research. This is the fourth or fifth week that the House of Representatives has been in an unplanned recess. Half of the Republicans in Congress are boycotting Washington right now because, again, they are so beholden to Trump and so beholden to their billionaire friends that they don't even want to have a discussion about helping regular people with their health care costs if it means they might not be able to pay for their big billionaire tax breaks. But, to your larger question, why is it that, folks don't believe more in the Democratic Party's economic message? Well, I think it's a consequence of years of ideas coming from our party that just didn't meet the size of the problem that people were facing. We've got to be a party that talks about big, bold ways to put money back in people's pocket. That means not a, couple dollar increase in the minimum wage. That means a minimum wage that's a living wage, $25 or whatever it takes. That means breaking up corporate power, stopping these media companies from being able to control and censor information in this country, capping prescription drug prices, all of them, not just 10 of the most expensive drugs. So if we want to win the argument nationally on the economy, then we've got to sort of break our addiction to incremental economic change, and we've got to talk about big, bold ideas that reorder power in this country.
Can I just focus for a second on the standalone bill for the ACA subsidies? Why not just vote on it and show that the Republican Party does not, as you suggest, actually want this to happen? Have them go on the record about it and then campaign on that for the midterms next year.
Yeah, I'm certainly open to that. My impression was that Senator Thune was saying that he would only provide that vote in exchange for Democrats voting for an underlying budget that doesn't fix the looming health care crisis. So, yeah, I have no problem having a vote. But
if that's what's going to get the government reopened and people paid, I mean, if it is about these subsidies, and I understand this is the only leverage point, so it's either you keep going with this leverage point and see how long it takes, or you say yes to the shutdown ending, and then show on the record that they don't actually want to extend these premiums, and then I guess the only leverage point you have after that is to campaign on it.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not just about politics, right? We are actually here to try to change people's lives. They need Democratic votes for a budget. And the reason that we didn't shut down at all when Joe Biden was president is because we sat down and negotiated with Republicans. Those budgets included Republican priorities. Our priorities right now are pretty freaking reasonable. What are we asking for? We're not asking to fix every problem in the healthcare system. We just don't want premiums to go up by 75% this fall. We just want the president to act lawfully. And so if we just sort of roll over and vote for a budget that includes no protections against Trump's corruption, if we roll over and don't fight to protect our constituents from massive looming health care prices, well, then what's the point of being here? I should just, go home and, just let the Republican agenda ruin people's lives in my state. No, they sent me here to fight for stuff. And so I'm going to fight to make sure that any budget that I vote for at least curbs the amount of lawlessness that is happening, slows the destruction of our democracy, and helps a few people in my state.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting right now that Donald Trump wants the IRS to look into and go after Democrat charities, democratically funded groups, potentially George Soros. Sounds a lot like what the Republicans accused Lois Lerner and President Obama of doing in 2013. Have you heard anything about this on the Hill today?
I have not. I've just seen the reporting, and it, strikes me as unsurprising. What you are seeing is the most serious challenge to American democracy since the Civil War. This is a country that is falling apart because Trump is in the middle of an authoritarian takeover. We're not on the verge of an authoritarian takeover. We're in the middle of it. And so for me, I'm only going to vote for a budget that fixes this health care problem, but also slows Trump's ability to act unconstitutionally and try to use the IRS or the FCC or the Department of Justice to punish his political opponents. I have no moral obligation to vote for a budget that literally funds the destruction of our democracy. And you are seeing that the president is absolutely committed to using these agencies to try to destroy dissent in this country. And that, frankly, I think should raise the stakes for Democrats. We shouldn't be willing to unquestionably vote to fund the agencies that are then going to be used to hunt down all of us, Democratic opponents of President Trump, lock us up, put us in jail, audit our taxes. That's not a democracy, and we shouldn't fund a budget that is going to be used to destroy our democracy.
The picture you paint is really scary, and you're using words like authoritarianism, the destruction of democracy. Why do you think, if it is as real as you argue it is, that the American public isn't angrier about it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's pretty good polling out there that says 80% of the American public believes that we are in the middle of a political crisis, that more than half of Americans think that free speech is legitimately at risk. Let's see how many people show up at these protests this weekend. I don't think you're going to walk away from this weekend and come to the conclusion that America doesn't care about the destruction of our democracy. To the extent that there aren't millions of people out there every single weekend, well, maybe that's because at times this year, Democratic elected officials haven't acted like the crisis is urgent. This is the first moment where Democrats are having a fight, are willing to make it clear that you're only going to get our votes if you are going to act constitutionally. So people do take cues from leaders, and why I've wanted our party to fight harder is because I think that people do listen to us.
Have the right leaders in place?
Well, I think you see right now our leaders understanding the urgency of this moment. It's not easy to keep the Democratic caucus united around these really important issues, and our leadership has been able to do that over the last few weeks.
Senator Chris Murphy, thank you very much for joining us, as always.